Morning, everyone. Welcome to Just Be Day 2. I'm excited to be here with you. Yay! I am on fire today. Good luck. When Laura Mazzata is on fire, if you've taken anything with me in terms of like programs or membership or whatever, you know that when the fire is on, I just open the floodgates. So got a little bit of that going on, not too much because we are here for silence and connecting with ourselves. However, morning, Angela. A couple things first before we get started. If you did not catch day one, it is pinned to the top of the group and featured. It is also saved to guides. There's a guides section that I'm going to be putting all of these into. Hey, Elizabeth. So that they're organized for you to be able to easily refer back to. Also, if you prefer YouTube and you're a YouTube human, or if there's people that you know that would benefit from this that do not participate on Facebook or hate Facebook, here's a link for day one on YouTube where they can watch it there. I'm going to be uploading each day to that as well. So that also comes with transcript and stuff like that. So some people prefer to watch it on YouTube. So there's a couple options for you there. And today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about skepticism, which is my little rant this morning that is coming forward from multiple different areas of my life that I'm seeing with this total solar eclipse, new moon in Aries energy. Okay, there's a lot of ego coming forward with this energy. Hey Donna, how are you, honey? It's so good to see you. So, it's important for us to acknowledge this, especially at this time, because honestly, this is the perfect time for ego to come forward. It makes perfect sense based on the energy. So I'm going to describe that a little bit and talk about skepticism. Then we're going to jump into a silent meditation. Before we jump into the silent meditation, I want to take a little bit of a vote from you guys, okay? So we had some people who wanted to sit in the silent meditation longer, which of course you can always do yourself. You know, as I'm starting to come out of the meditation, you can just shut me off and can stay in your meditation until you're ready to come out. You do not have to complete it with us. And there's some people that thought that the 20 minutes of meditation that we did yesterday was perfect. So today I'm giving you an option. What's up, Anna? Let me know today, do you want to do 20, 30, or 40 minutes of silent meditation? Just drop 20, 30, or 40 in the chat. And I'm going to see what comes forward. And if there's no consensus, I'm just going to go with whatever intuitively feels good. Okay. So how do you guys feel, by the way? Hi, Diana. How was yesterday's experience for you? And, or was there anything that came up or any clarity that arose later on, like after the fact? Because when we meditate, when we do things like this, we're not necessarily going to see results right in real time, right in front of us and have conscious understanding. And the point is not to have conscious understanding. Okay. Of course, we are eager for that as human beings. We have very curious minds. Okay. But, this is energetic work, and we need this. This is where trust comes in. We need to trust that what is happening behind the scenes is serving our future, because it absolutely is. And it's serving the highest version of ourselves. 30-30. Okay. Cool beans. We'll go with 30 today. I mean, I don't watch the clock when I do this. Like, I just kind of go with it intuitively, but today I'll be a little bit more mindful of that so that we can extend it a little bit. Okay. So any questions or shares that you want to bring forward from yesterday, please feel free to drop those in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to start chatting with you about this concept of skepticism. So, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest level of skepticism, 1 being the lowest, where would you say you operate on a fairly regular basis with being skeptical? 10 being the most skeptical, 1 being the least. Let me know where you fall on that. This is something that has been coming up in my own field, within myself, I should say, as well as in my field with people that I'm connected to. From clients to loved ones to just witnessing the collective. So many things come forward through the day into the silent meditation. Brilliant, Angela. Love, love, love. Love that. I heard that from a couple people, so thank you for sharing that. Karina, good morning, Carrie. How are you? We are voting on 20, 30, or 40 minutes of silent meditation today. So far, we have 2:30s. That's what we are going to err on the side of, unless people come in and have very strong opinions otherwise. 6 to 8, says Ginny. This is on the scale of skepticism. 10 being the highest level that you feel skeptical, 1 being the lowest. Thank you for your honesty. 9-ish. Yeah. And I'm telling you, dude, 8, see? Like, I'm telling you, the reason that I feel fired up about this is because it's just like so fucking present right now. Like, it's like in our faces. And it's funny because even on the spiritual path, when we feel like, oh yes, I'm believing and I'm sinking into trust and all this shit, this really does highlight how much our egos are still at play. How much our egos and judgment, which is really a big piece of skepticism and really where it's coming from, is ingrained in us and conditioned based on the society that we live in. This is not something that you need to take blame for. It's not something you need to feel ashamed of. It's something that you are becoming aware of, right? And when we know better, we do better. So once you have this awareness, you're able to say, okay, like now that I see this, I can't unsee it. I'm going to set the intention to understand this from a different perspective. Okay. So I love wordplay. I love playing with words. Those of you who know me know this very well. And skepticism, when we look at the definitions of skepticism, I'm going to take you on a little bit of a sequence here with understanding this definition of skepticism. But before I do, I just want to mention that Aries energy, which is what we're dealing with here with the new moon and the total solar eclipse, which is fully peaking today, by the way, very early this morning. It has to do with leadership. It has to do with determination and courage and conviction. Okay. And so it's really being able to assert ourselves for who we are. And I think what happens is that we can get lost in the human sauce around who the fuck we are. And our egos start to, especially in energy like Aries, which is very, plow forward, fire energy, let's get this done. We want to make sure that what we're plowing forward with is not just being driven by our ego. Okay. And so the fact that this skepticism keeps showing up in my field and within myself is really highlighting, why is this coming forward? It's coming forward and it's becoming this potent awareness for me because it's leaving, it's shedding, it's dissolving. Okay. And when we talk about the ego, we don't want to look at it as separate from us. It's a part of us. Okay. And we want to be able to unfold that as a part of who we are and an appreciation of our wholeness. Okay. And, when we look at eradicating the ego or putting it on the side table, that's not acknowledging it as a part of ourselves necessarily right here in this moment. Instead, it's about how do we dissolve it into us and integrate it into who we are. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about a little bit here for just a couple minutes, and then we're going to dive into our meditation. So skepticism is defined as not easily convinced, having doubts or reservations. That's the first definition. Okay. And so what is doubt? It's a feeling of uncertainty or a lack of conviction. And conviction is a firmly held belief. So what does this show you? That if you're not easily convinced and you're having doubts or reservations, which means that you're uncertain or you have a lack of conviction, which is a firmly held belief, you need to deepen your belief. You need to deepen your conviction in who you are, in what you're here for, in what you are and are not available for, and what's next for you in terms just vibrationally getting pulled forward like a magnet, not what you're deciding is pulling you forward, right? Because what happens is we distract ourselves by making this about the people outside of us or the things outside of us that we're skeptical of. But we're giving our power away there, right? It's not about anybody else. It's not about anything else outside of us. It's about us. Because when I have courage in my conviction and when I'm solid in my beliefs, I don't have to be skeptical. I just have this very soft, gentle knowing that that's not in alignment for me. I don't have to be mistrustful. Some of the synonyms for skepticism are mistrustful, misbelieving, hesitant, scoffing. Scoffing is so fucking judgmental, right? That's judgmental. pessimistic, and defeatist. These are all synonyms of skepticism. Defeatist, right? When we look at defeatist, it's like, why am I getting defeated by shit outside of me? Because I'm not solid enough in who I am. I'm not convicted enough. I don't believe deeply enough in myself or in whatever topic is being discussed, right? You can very softly and gently know exactly what you believe and exactly what you're convicted in without being skeptical of anybody else's perception, because their perception is absolutely valid. Their approach is absolutely valid. Their intentions are absolutely valid. And if you're really solid in yourself, you're absolutely going to know whether or not that aligns with your path without having to judge what's going on with theirs or be skeptical or mistrustful of what's going on with theirs. It's like, okay, you do you. Like, that's your reality. I totally own that. My reality feels very different for me, so I'm going to stay here in my vortex. Right? You know what else is really cool? The second definition of skepticism is relating to the theory that certain knowledge is impossible. How fucking brilliant is that? Like, if that does not blow the goddamn lid off of skepticism, I don't know what does. Because when you're skeptical, you are then believing that somebody else's or some other knowledge that exists in this world is impossible. But there's infinite possibility. There's infinite fucking possibility. All possibilities exist. All ideas exist. All perceptions exist. So stop denying their reality by allowing your ego to grip onto and attach to the way that you view it. Instead, you get to softly own, I know what it feels like to be me. I know what it feels like to be in alignment. And so I think that some of you may realize that this skepticism is very egoic. And some of you may realize, oh, wait, maybe I'm calling it skepticism, but maybe it's actually just that I'm not feeling aligned. Good. Then shift your verbiage, right? Shift your language around it, because you're intuitive enough to know that doesn't feel right to me. That doesn't mean you have to be skeptical of the other person's perception, but you can simply identify that doesn't feel aligned. And therefore, I'm going to very lovingly detach or move on or not engage. Right? This literally hit me like, I don't even know when I posted this, but 20 minutes ago or something. It literally hit me like a half an hour ago. And I was just like, oh my fucking God. Like, oh my God. Like, I was just like, this feels so right. Like, I love this shift so much. It gives me chills everywhere. And then lastly, guess what solves this? Which is so exciting, considering we're in this Aries energy, right? We're in this Aries energy. So yes, the ego is having its fucking tantrum, because that's what it does. When we start to sink into stillness with ourselves, when we start to get more intimate with ourselves, it starts to tantrum because it's attached to all of these egoic beliefs, and it's attached to the way that we've been doing things, right? This is what eclipse energy does. It sheds and it dissolves portions of ourselves into a new energy, into a new pathway, okay? So I freaking love that this is coming up right now in this energy. Obviously, it's coming up for a reason because of this energy, but guess what solves it? Intimacy with self, intimacy with all parts of ourselves. Through connection to yourself without distraction. It's a practice, but this is the wild thing. We do this without even realizing it. Again, not shaming yourself, not blaming yourself, but we would rather question everyone around us than have the patience to sit with ourselves consistently and just be, to identify and solidify the courage of our convictions. It's a fucking cop-out. It's a cop-out. I'm going to blame this, I'm going to blame that, or I'm going to be skeptical of this, that, or the other, instead of looking at me, instead of sitting with me, instead of really solidifying this. Because when this is solidified, you don't even have to think about working to set boundaries, working to figure out how to better situations in your life. It just happens as you maintain that alignment. And as you sustain this energy, you're not even going to think about having to sustain the energy because it's just going to be done. Okay. So I will leave you with, I told you I was going to go on a rant this morning. Welcome to Laura Mazzata Fire Energy. I'm going to leave you with one. Sorry, it just said my connection was weird, so I just wanted to make sure that nothing was missed. I'm going to leave you with one mantra here that I'm actually going to put in caps because I typed it in caps when I was typing about this morning. I shared my whole journal entry on this the other day. That was even before this whole skepticism rant, right? But I shared my whole journal entry in my membership group and Exploring Wholeness on this concept, which was just, we got into desire and the different layers of desire, and it was just like so yummy. But I am the sole source of my own intimacy. This is what we want to own today. Okay. If you're going to set an intention at all for today's practice, when we go into meditation, I am the sole source of my own intimacy. That is my only responsibility. Everything else flows from there. Everything else. I am the sole source of my own intimacy. That is my only responsibility. Everything else flows from there. Ginny, you poor thing with your connections. I'm so glad it's good timing, Darlene. Oh, dude, I just want to like sit with this for so much longer because the energy of this just feels like I just wanted to integrate deeper and deeper for myself because I freaking love it. But I get to do that in meditation with you guys, so yay. All right, guys, so thank you for receiving this before our meditation. We are going to shoot for 30 minutes today for silent meditation. I never watch the clock like a mad woman because I believe in intuitive guidance, but we're going to stay within that vicinity. Have a drink of water if you need. Make sure you're in your comfy space. I'm going to light some Palo Santo here because I didn't do that before we started because I was too fired up. And make sure that you have pillows or blankets or anything to make your experience more comfortable. Adjust the temperature of the room if you need to because you're going to be sinking into this for a little bit, okay? This is sacred ritual with yourself. Make it feel royal, queen-like, king-like. Return to that statement. I am the sole source of my own intimacy. That is my only responsibility. And we are going to sink into intimacy with ourselves now. If any of you know Palo Santo, it can be a little bit of a bear to cooperate. I'm just going to send you guys some Reiki. And I wanted to light it so that it burns for a little while during this meditation. Make sure you're nice and grounded with either your feet on the floor or settled into the space in which you're sitting or lying down. Either one works. Close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath in all the way to the base of your spine. Really slow exhale. Slowing down that heart rate, slowing down the respiratory system, allowing your full digestive system to relax as well when this occurs. Another deep breath in, holding at the top. And slowly release through the mouth or through the nose. Placing your hand on your heart space, one deep breath into your heart and hold. Now breathe into the back and the sides of your heart and hold. And slowly release. Place your hands wherever they feel comfortable to settle into this space. Stretch your neck. Adjust your physical body. Allow your shoulders to move back and down. Your jaw to loosen, your tongue to hang in the base of your mouth. Keeping an eye on your tongue during this experience. When it goes to the top of your mouth, that means your nervous system is activated. You could just intentionally and gently bring it back to the base of your mouth. Finding your anchor point as you did yesterday. It could be the breath coming in and out of your nose, your hands on your body, the breath coming in and out of your belly. We're going to swallow to begin this practice on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, swallow. And a nice deep breath in. Continuing to move your breath slowly and deeply at a pace that's comfortable for you. Allowing your shoulders to fall with each exhale, your jaw to loosen further with each exhale. Allowing a cascade of energy to flow from your third eye all the way down your chakra system into Mother Earth. And just be. Noticing any thoughts and just label them as thinking. Noticing any physical discomfort and saying you get to release now. Deepening your breath into areas that call to you. Release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. Return to a deep, slow breathing rhythm. Knowing that any way you are doing this right now is enough. You are enough. Enough even feels too small. You are magnificent. You are infinite. You are ever expanding. You're a gorgeous, unfolding masterpiece. Labeling any thoughts that come in as thinking. Playing with your breath, extending your exhale, deepening your breath. The future is limitless. The possibilities are endless. Any restrictions that you perceived are created by the ego and the stories of conditioning and society. Allow this space to feel free, to allow your energy to roam wherever it may, and to show you the infinite possibilities, to guide you with your soul's desire. Return to your anchor point. Deepening your breath. Coming back to your anchor point. Loosen your tongue. Nice deep breath in. Slow, slow exhale. Swallow. Keep your eyes closed and just start to stretch your neck. Awaken the body a little bit, deepen the breath. Yawn if you need to. Ground yourself in where you're sitting. If you want to stay in meditation, you can just close this now and stay in meditation, or you can receive the download that I brought through by opening your eyes, starting to orient with the space in which you're sitting, taking your time. Such beautiful transitions, right? Like being able to witness where my energy was when I started this live to where it is now, and to be transitioning from that space of deep self-intimacy and oneness to reorienting to what's around you. Just noticing those transitions and being gentle and patient with them is a beautiful process in itself, and shows you how much power you have to be able to shift your energy and how much power energy has to move you when you open to it and when you allow it. Just allow it without resistance. One of the things that came forward, there were a few things that came forward for me, but one of them was around this concept of transition. And this is actually something that's been coming forward for me over the past just like 48 hours, which is this, we talk about grounding, and we talk about grounding in going outside and putting our feet on the ground and having a snack and using a grounding mat and holding dark colored crystals and, orienting to the body. But it's interesting to me because when my energy is fiery, like it was earlier, or excited, or even when I feel scattered or all over the place or confused, any of it, my favorite grounding technique is just being with myself and connecting to my soul. And a lot of times people will say that when you go up into the Akashic records, or you access other dimensions, or you get really connected to the spiritual side of things, of yourself or of the universe, you need to ground, because you're going to be flying up in the sky and all of this. And when we're just with ourselves, it incorporates all layers of us: physical, emotional, mental, energetic, and spiritual. So actually, this has been coming forward a lot lately. It came up in a session with somebody the other day too, around actually using the spiritual practices as grounding rather than actual grounding techniques, and seeing how that feels. Because I think particularly for starseeds and for people who are intuitives and very naturally here to light the way, and to embody this energy and their in oneness, it can sometimes feel like we are foreigners on this planet, right? That we're not native to Earth, and that this is a really, really challenging thing for us to navigate. It is for a lot of people, but I think that when you realize that your essence is truly anchored and rooted in another dimension or in your spiritual self, and that's the journey that your soul chose, grounding can actually be more effective when you're grounding in that spiritual location of your soul's origin, or grounding in your soul, grounding in your spirituality, because that is your foundation, right? Does that make sense? It's like I'm instructed to do several different small rituals while still being with myself. So much is happening. Yep. Right. And it's interesting because instruction is even something that we're meant to sit with and allow to unfold and allow the seeds to be planted. Like, that's actually one of the things that came forward, something related to that, Sherry, while I was in meditation, which is this hypervigilance to respond to instruction. And this instruction could come from our soul, and this instruction could come from our ego. It could come from our heart. It could come from our bodies. It could come from outside of us, right? But we develop this hypervigilance to attend to it right away, or else I'm going to lose it. Or like, it doesn't have to be we get the instruction and then we just snap to attention. And that's conditioning, right? That's the societal way. And it's interesting because that's what came up for me is I was having physical sensations that were coming up, one of them being hunger. I'm a big snacker. So I was like, oh, I need a snack. And I labeled that as thinking. And this is actually something that I learned, that I wrote about in one of my chronic illness posts, which is I went from I was attentive to the body. I've always been very in tune with my body, but like I wasn't invested and like devoted to my body as I am now. And then pendulum swing to like, okay, I'm going to be super, super attentive to my body to the point where it becomes like this over-giving, overcompensating hypervigilance, where it's like my body says something and it's like, okay, I got to attend to that. I got to take care of my body. That's my first priority. But again, that's egoic, right? That's an egoic attachment to me taking care of my body because I should. Rather than, well, I trust and know deeply that I am in my highest state of wellness, and I will continue to be as I tune into my soul and allow my soul to nudge me if there is something that my body needs. Rather than, because it was like my body finally got all this devotion, right? And then it's like a small child. It's like, oh, she's paying attention to me. Oh, I want more. Oh, I want more. Oh, I want more. And if I'm constantly just in a hypervigilant way, just responding and reacting, okay, yeah, I'm going to give it to you right away. I'm going to give it to you right away. My body becomes like a spoiled child, right? Where it's just like, oh, she's going to give me anything I say. Whereas we get to shift into deeper trust of ourselves, of our bodies, of our energy, that when we receive instruction, there is space for that to settle into our fields and inform us again, if it needs to later, or to very gently flow into it rather than this reactive response. We always think reactivity is this snap judgment, verbally reacting to things, or nervous system reaction. But sometimes reactivity is not always that. It's just this like hyper attention. And a lack of trust in, if my kid's asking me for a snack, she can wait 5 minutes. She can wait 10 minutes. She's not going to die. Right? It's being able to have faith and deepen belief in our bodies, or wherever the instruction is coming from, that everything's good, calm down. I can respond to this when I'm in a space of greater evenness Does that make sense? Yeah, my tummy was growling too, Sherry. I don't know if you guys heard it over the microphone. So, just an interesting perspective on like this hyper responsivity, even to ourselves, because I feel like that pendulum can easily go that way around, you know, like we want to love ourselves wholly and completely. But from not from a space where we think we know what it looks like to love ourselves, or, well, I'm going to love myself from this perspective because this is how I'm supposed to love myself. This is what it looks like to love myself, rather than just like sitting in silence. What does it feel like to just be with myself and to just gently and gradually cultivate this relationship that allows me to come into love with myself? Yeah, I had a couple of those too, Jenny. All right, guys. Where is everyone who voted before or who had this in their head on the skepticism scale now? Which I will remind you, 10 is the highest level of skeptical, 1 is the lowest. I have a fruit fly that's hanging out with us. Having doubts. Certain knowledge is impossible. Feeling of uncertainty or lack of conviction and firmly held belief. Like, does it even feel fucking relevant? Like, does it even feel relevant now? It's almost like when you come out of something like this, it's like, who cares? Like, who cares? Right? I love this energy, and I love all these sides of myself. I love the fiery part of me. I love the zen, calm, easeful part of me. I love the spunky, feisty part of me. Like, it's just enfolding all of it. Non-existent, right, Angela? 3 to 4, like a big, see, I'm telling you, dudes, this is evidence for your ego. This is evidence for your human. These are the kinds of things that can ground our human and allow us to really integrate. That is a perfect reflection of the fact that you just integrated. You just did beautiful integration work of your soul and your human. You have the ability to do this. And you don't even need to do it for 30 minutes. Because you felt great yesterday after 20. Right? You could probably do it for 15 or 10. You'll be able to do it for less and less and go deeper quicker the more you do it. Right? Who cares? Calm down, respond to my time. Exactly. Like, who cares? So, this was awesome. Thank you guys. Again, if you want individual support during any of this, if stuff comes up that you're uncomfortable with, book a vibrational assessment. It's $50. If you can't find a time over the next couple days and you're like, I really need to jump in, just message me. I'm pretty flexible over the next few days, so I'm happy to jump on a call with you. Day 1 is on YouTube. I'll drop that again. I will be uploading day 2 to YouTube as well if you guys... Oh, good job, Angela. If you guys want to watch it there, and I'll drop it here. But I'm also going to send out an email later. And if there's anybody that you think that could really benefit from this, invite them to the group, share the group link with them, whatever is easier for you. And I will see you guys tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. Oh, you know what? The other thing I wanted to tell you is if this kind of energy and this kind of experience feels really good to you, and this kind of processing, like around skepticism and hypervigilance with our bodies and things like that, honestly, that's 100% going to be Exploring Wholeness, my membership group, if you want to do this more often and like more consistently. I post in there once or twice a week, usually closer to twice a week. And then I check in with comments a couple times a week as well. But man, I mean, the growth in that space, I posted about it yesterday. It's just like, I've screenshotted so much of the wisdom from these queens because it's just these reflections to each other, you know, about like the raw stuff that comes up in our human that we're just like, holy shit, you know, and we're able to take this higher perspective and really deepen our self-intimacy. So it's just another way of doing it through shares, through writing, through what's being reflected through our world, you know, and like what's coming into our world on a day-to-day basis. So, and that's $33 a month, 3-month minimum. So you can check that out too if you want. But I will see you here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern. I love you. I'm so, so grateful for this space. I mean, you can feel the change in me just from the start of this too. And sharing it with you guys just gives me chills all the way up and down my spine. So thank you. You're welcome, Angela. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.